The power of words. When I was young, I thought everything was a joke. I laughed at people, teased my friends, and made fun of anyone I could. It felt good to be the funny one. Everyone laughed at my jokes, so I believed I was doing something right. I never thought about how my words made others feel. There was a boy in my class named Tom. He was quiet and shy, he didn't talk much, and he always sat alone. To me, that made him an easy target. "Hey, Tom, why are you so quiet?" I would say. "Are you too scared to speak?" The other kids laughed, so I kept going. Every day, I found a new joke to make about him. Sometimes it was about his clothes, sometimes about his hair, and sometimes just about the way he walked. Tom never said anything back. He just looked down and walked away. One afternoon, I saw Tom sitting alone in the schoolyard. He was staring at the ground, kicking a small rock with his foot. I walked up to him with a smile. "Still alone, Tom?" I said. "Maybe if you learned to talk, you'd have some friends." The kids around me laughed again. But this time, something was different. Tom looked up at me, and for the first time, I saw the pain in his eyes. His face was pale, and his hands were shaking, but he still didn't say a word. He just stood up and walked away. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Tom's face. I had always believed words didn't really matter. They were just sounds, just jokes. But Tom's eyes told me something else. Maybe words were stronger than I thought. Maybe they could hurt more than I realized. Next day at school, I didn't feel like making jokes. Something about Tom's face from the day before stayed in my mind, but as soon as I walked into class, my friends were waiting for me. "What's the joke today?" one of them asked. They expected me to be funny, to keep making everyone laugh. I looked around the room. Tom was sitting in the corner, staring at his desk. He looked even quieter than before. I wanted to leave him alone, but I felt the pressure from my friends. So I walked over to Tom and said, "Still too scared to talk, Tom?" The kids laughed. But this time, Tom didn't just look down. He stood up, his eyes filled with tears, and ran out of the classroom. The laughter stopped. The teacher looked at me with disappointment. "That was not kind," she said. Her words hit me hard. I had always thought jokes were harmless, but now I wasn't so sure. At lunchtime, I saw Tom sitting alone under a tree. I wanted to go to him, but I didn't know what to say. Instead, I sat with my friends, pretending everything was normal. But it wasn't. For the first time, I felt that maybe my words had done real damage. Maybe I had hurt someone more than I ever imagined. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Tom running out of the classroom. His sad face, his teary eyes, I couldn't forget them. Had I really hurt him that much? I'd always thought my jokes were just jokes, but now I wasn't so sure. The next day at school, Tom wasn't there. The teacher told us he was sick and would stay home for a few days. My stomach felt heavy. What if he wasn't really sick? What if he just didn't want to come to school because of me? At lunch, my friends were laughing and talking, but I wasn't in the mood. I kept looking at Tom's empty seat. "What's wrong with you?" one of my friends asked. No jokes today? I forced a smile. Not today, I said, but inside I felt different. I didn't want to make fun of anyone anymore. After school, I decided to do something I had never done before. I walked to Tom's house. I stood outside his door for a long time, feeling nervous. Finally, I took a deep breath and knocked. Tom's mother opened the door. She looked surprised to see me. "Hello," I said. I just wanted to see if Tom is okay." She smiled a little. "That's kind of you. He's in his room. Wait here, I'll call him." A few moments later, Tom appeared at the door. He looked at me, his face full of confusion. "What do you want?" he asked quietly. I hesitated. I had never apologized to anyone before. I just wanted to say I'm sorry," I finally said, "for everything." Tom looked at me for a long time. Then, slowly, he nodded. "Okay," he said. He didn't smile, but he didn't close the door on me either. As I walked home, I felt lighter. Maybe I couldn't take back all the things I had said before. But maybe, just maybe, I could start changing from now on. The next day at school, I felt nervous. I wasn't sure if Tom would talk to me. Would he still be angry? Would he ignore me? I walked into the classroom and saw him sitting at his desk. He looked up, and for a moment we just stared at each other. Then, to my surprise, he gave me a small nod. At lunch, I didn't sit with my usual friends. Instead, I took my tray and walked over to Tom's table. He looked up, surprised. "Can I sit here?" I asked. He hesitated for a second, then nodded. I sat down, feeling awkward. I had spent years making jokes at his expense, and now I didn't know what to say. After a few moments of silence, I cleared my throat. "So, what do you like to do?" I asked. Tom raised an eyebrow. "Why do you care?" I sighed. "Because I want to be different. I don't want to be the person I was before." Tom looked at me for a long time. Then he finally spoke. "I like to draw." I was surprised. I had never paid attention to Tom's interests before. "Really? What do you draw?" He pulled a small notebook from his backpack and showed me. The pages were filled with amazing sketches, animals, people, and even scenes from movies. I was impressed. "These are really good," I said honestly. Tom smiled a little. "Thanks." For the first time, we talked like real people. No jokes, no teasing, just a normal conversation. And for the first time, I realized how much I had missed out on by pushing people away with my words. Maybe words had hurt before, but now I wanted to use them to build something better. After that day, things slowly changed. I stopped making fun of people. I tried to listen more and speak with kindness. It wasn't easy. Sometimes my old habits returned, and I had to remind myself to be better. Tom and I became friends. We didn't talk all the time, but when we did, it felt real. He even showed me more of his drawings. I admired his talent and told him so. Other people noticed the change in me. Some were surprised, some didn't believe it at first, but over time they saw I was serious. I wasn't the same person who hurt others with my words. One day Tom said, "You know, people can change. I didn't think you could, but you did." His words meant a lot to me. I had spent years using words to hurt. Now, I wanted to use them to heal. Years passed, and I grew older, but I never forgot those days. I often thought about the people I had hurt and the lessons I had learned. Words are powerful. They can break a person or lift them up. I started using my words differently. I gave compliments instead of insults. I encouraged people instead of mocking them. And something amazing happened. I felt happier. The more kindness I gave, the more I received. Looking back, I regret the pain I caused. But I am also grateful for the chance to change. Not everyone gets that chance. Life gave me an opportunity, and I took it. Now, as an old man, I share my story. I hope others will learn from my mistakes. I want them to know that words matter. They can hurt or heal. The choice is ours. And I hope they choose kindness.